I grew up as the oldest brother of four children, and when I was 12, my parents got separated, and it turned out to be a very painful divorce. My oldest brother and I moved out with my father, and my younger brother and newborn sister remained with my mom. And it was awful for all of us to have our family fall apart like that. Settlement lawsuits followed, and fights over alimony took years. Not long after the separation, my father introduced us to his new younger girlfriend, and ever since it was very painful for my mother to be in the same place as my father. And I'm now 35, and up to this date, still every year on my birthday, I celebrate two separate birthday parties. One in the afternoon with my mom, and the second in the evening with my dad. I don't blame my parents. I understand that love can be very complicated. Life can be very complicated. I always hoped they would just get along, but there was too much hurt and too much blame, and that's the pain that a lot of children experience. Nowadays, almost half of all marriages in the United States and in Western Europe end up in a divorce. And I always intended to do better than my own parents. But that's not that easy. When I started dating, I was well aware how the beautiful love in the beginning can turn into hate, so that made me very cautious. So when looking for a potential girlfriend, my number one criteria has always been that she had to be reasonable. I always try to imagine how she would be if one day our love would go wrong. What if we would have children and then we would split up? Would she still let me see them? Or would she poison them with negative stories about me? So you see, relationships for me were kind of difficult. So, well, every time a relationship started to become serious, I backed off. And while I was dating all those might turn out to be unreasonable girls, most of my friends got married. They became parents. So I attended a lot of weddings on my own. And I had a lot of dates, and the nights that I had dates were very exciting, but the nights that I didn't, to be honest, those nights could be pretty lonely. Then one day, it's almost 3 years ago, I met a girl, and she was good looking, she was affectionate, and I thought she was amazing, and I could hardly believe that she was willing to date me. But she did, and the first year that we were together, I was so in love with her that I didn't even feel hungry, which was great for my diet. And well, as always, I tried to imagine how she would be if one day our love would go wrong. And I thought she was the most reasonable girl I ever met, so I asked her to move in with me, and she did. So, well, the first year we were together was amazing. And then, well, I think it was halfway in our second year together. Slowly, I noticed that my hunger started to return. I was still very happy and in love, but the addictive high that I felt in the beginning, well, it started to weaken. I still could imagine us being together for a very long time and hopefully one day build a family together. But on the other hand, to be honest, I was missing the excitement that comes with meeting somebody new. So I felt very guilty and ashamed of having this awesome, good-looking, loving girlfriend, and at the same time, sometimes imagining how it would be to be with somebody else. So, well, that made me question my capability to be monogamous. I never cheated on a girl before, but that's an easy claim since I never had that many long-term relationships before. And now I felt I found the love of my life, and at the same time, I felt tempted to be with others. So what was wrong with me? Had I been single for so long that I wasn't capable of focusing on one girl anymore? Was I so accustomed to variety that sameness now was boring to me? Or did I just grow up seeing too many examples of people that turned out to have had extramarital affairs? I was asking all these questions and I didn't know the right answer, but maybe I was asking the wrong questions. Maybe I shouldn't be asking, what is wrong with me? Maybe I should be asking, what could be wrong with monogamy. So I started thinking about that. And what I think could be wrong with monogamy is the fact that we all take it for granted. Whenever we start and enter a new relationship, we automatically assume it's going to be monogamous. It's the default form of a relationship. It goes without saying, if you are in a relationship, it should be monogamous. But I don't think it's everybody's natural predisposition to be monogamous. I think a lot of people would like to be in a relationship and sometimes be allowed to, well, be with somebody else. But our society has developed in such a way that we, well, are all expected to exercise restraint and discipline to fit in. So that's great for the people that love monogamy. But what about the people that don't? What about the people that now remain in the closet with their sexual preference, secret sexual preference, to not be monogamous? They either remain monogamous because they think that's what's expected of them, and that might make them unsatisfied or maybe even unhappy, or they cheat, and then a whole new set of issues arises. So what can we do? Well, I don't think it's the best first date material to say, hi, nice to meet you. I would like to have exclusive sex with you for about a year, and after that I would like to sleep around with others. Is that okay with you? But, well, surely it should be a subject to be discussed when a relationship starts to become a little bit more serious. So what I think is that before committing to somebody for the rest of your life, before having children, before having affairs, I think it's essential to know what monogamy means to you and to your partner. So, well, light up some candles, sit or lie down and talk about it. Is being monogamous something that comes natural to you, or is it something that sometimes feels like a sacrifice? How do you envision your future? What if one of you wouldn't be into sex anymore? Would the other then be allowed to be with others? Or is he or she expected to give up on sex too? What if your partner has an affair? Would you want him to confess or be discreet about it? What if you would feel the need to be with somebody else? Would your partner maybe allow you to have a one-night fling, visit a prostitute, or, well, have a longer affair? These are very delicate considerations. And I don't think it's up to society to judge. I think, well, they're private deliberations, and the outcome is only relevant to the partners involved. And yes, I understand. It takes a great deal of honesty to tell your partner, I love you, you're great, but only loving you, only having sex with you for the rest of my life might not be enough for me. But what if we would all be honest to our loved ones about our feelings and preferences? We would understand more of their desires, and we would make better matches. Lovers that find monogamy very important, they can be together, and people that like the idea of a less exclusive relationship, they can experiment with that consensually. I don't think that open relationships are better by definition than monogamous ones, or vice versa. I think both types of relationships and everything in between have their advantages and disadvantages. Making a polygamous relationship work can be tough. I imagine that jealousy would be a major issue. Hearing that your partner has been with somebody else could possibly hurt. But the monogamous relationships and marriages we know today, they have their hardships anyway. As I said, we have a 50% divorce rate, and well, now and then it turns out that those monogamous relationships haven't been quite that monogamous in the first place. So, I think monogamy works best if we dare to discuss it. Don't take it for granted. And, well, for a moment, just forget what we were taught about how a relationship should be. And I know that's very hard because we've all been influenced so much by our upbringing, religion, and romantic comedies starring Hugh Grant. Especially those. So try to forget those just for a moment and try to feel what you would want for yourself if there were no limitations. And I hope that you can trust your partner enough to have an open conversation about what love, sex, trust, and exclusivity mean to the both of you. I often wonder what would have happened if my parents would have had such a conversation earlier on in their relationship. I am very proud to live in the Netherlands because we're the home of the first same-sex marriage already more than 13 years ago. And I hope that we can also be the country where people can shape their relationship in the way that best suits them. That would seem to me the most reasonable way to go. And I understand that it could be a little bit difficult to break the ice on this subject. So what my suggestion would be to just light up some candles, sit or lie down, and tell your partner about this Dutch guy who thinks there might be something a little bit wrong with monogamy. Thank you.